Most men are playing their dating lives like a lottery. They buy a ticket, they wait, and if it doesn't hit, they tell themselves the game is rigged. Smart men play it like poker. And the difference between those two things is the difference between a guy who's been stuck for years wondering why nothing is working and a guy who's actually improving his results every single month. Today, I want to show you how to think about your dating life the way a poker player thinks about the table. And I'm not just talking about cold approach here, I'm talking about the whole game, social circle, leverage, Instagram, all of it. Because once you understand the math behind it, everything changes. This one's for the analytical guys. If you like data, if you like systems, if you've ever tried to figure out logically why your results aren't matching your effort, this is going to click for you. It's also for guys who have been grinding for a while and feel like they're not getting traction. Because usually when that's happening, there's a specific leak in your funnel, and we're going to find it. You're listening to the Inner Confidence Podcast. My name is Robbie Kramer. I've been a coach since 2007, and I've helped countless men rapidly achieve all of their social and dating goals. My mission is simple: to help you position yourself to meet stunning women, make awesome friends, en route to becoming the most confident and attractive version you can possibly be. I'm absolutely obsessed with giving you the most leveraged ways possible to win the game, so stick around, let's go. So take a lottery player. He goes out on a Friday, he approaches maybe one or two girls, it doesn't go anywhere, and he goes home thinking, this doesn't work. Or he's on the apps, he sends 100 messages over a month, gets a handful of responses, goes on 2 dates, they don't pan out, and he concludes the apps are broken, girls are flaky, the whole thing is rigged against him. He bought tickets, they didn't hit, he's done. And here's the thing, lottery thinking isn't just a cold approach problem. I see guys approach social circle the exact same way. They go to one party, they don't meet anyone great, and then they decide social circle doesn't work for them. Then they try Instagram for a month, they get no responses and conclude it's pointless. One ticket, didn't hit, moving on. That's not a strategy problem. That's a lottery mindset. Now let's take a poker player. He knows that one hand tells you pretty much nothing. He knows he can make the exact right decision and still lose a hand because that's how variance works. But he also knows that over enough hands, if he's making better decisions than everyone else at the table, the math will catch up. He doesn't need any single hand to go well. He needs his edge to compound over time. The lottery player treats every approach, every party, every date, every conversation as a high-stakes moment where he's got to hit. The poker player treats each one as one data point in a much larger sample. And that shift in framing, it sounds subtle, but it completely changes how you show up, and it completely changes what you learn. There's one more thing about poker I want you to think before we get into the framework. Good poker players don't just play one table. They play multiple tables simultaneously. Obviously, only online. They can't do this in person yet. And your dating life works the same way. Cold approach is one table. Social circle is another. Instagram is a third. Each one has different math, different timelines, different compounding rates. The guys who win big aren't winning at one table. They're running all three, and the gains at each one feed the others. So let me give you the poker player's approach to your entire dating life. There are 4 concepts you need to internalize. Number 1, volume is the only way to get real data. Here's the thing most guys don't want to hear. If you're approaching 1 or 2 girls a week, you don't have data. You have lottery tickets. An approach that doesn't go well when you're at 5 approaches a week could be variance. It could be you, it could be her, it could be the environment, it could be 10 different things. You genuinely cannot tell. When you're at 10 or 15 approaches a week, patterns start to emerge. You start to notice things like, I can always open, but I lose them when I run out of things to say. Or I get great conversations, but I can't close for the number. Or I get the number, but I can't convert it to a date. The volume is what turns noise into signal. Without it, you're just guessing. And this applies to every table you're playing. If you're going to one social event a month, you don't have data on your social circle game. You need to be getting out to 3 or 4 things a week, ideally, meeting new people consistently, following up consistently before you have enough volume to know what's actually working. Same with Instagram. If you're posting once or twice a month and wondering why nothing is happening, you haven't given it enough volume to tell you anything. I talk about the 500 approach threshold a lot when it comes to cold approach. That's roughly the point where most guys start to genuinely understand their sticking points because they finally have a sample size worth looking at. The social circle equivalent is probably 6 months of consistent, intentional effort. Going to the right events, following up, hosting your own thing occasionally, building slowly. You can't assess a strategy in a month. You need volume over time. Number 2, you're playing multiple tables and each one has different math. Cold approach gives you fast feedback because you go out, you approach, you get a reaction immediately. It's a tight feedback loop, but cold approach doesn't compound the way social circle does. You have to keep putting in the time. You take a month off and your lead flow goes to 0. Your skills are there, but you're starting from scratch in terms of active opportunities. Where social circle is really the opposite. It's slow to build. The first 3 months feels like maybe nothing is happening, but then something shifts because here's the math. Every quality person you add to your network has their own network. They introduce you to people you never would have met on your own. Those people introduce you to more people. Your events get slightly bigger each time. The girls in your circle start bringing their friends and it compounds, Each addition makes the next addition easier. Instagram works on a similar curve. A guy with 5,000 engaged followers is getting warm inbound attention. The guy with no following has to go out and cold approach for. That's not better or worse, it's just different math. The content you posted 6 months ago is still working for you today, and the approach you did 6 months ago is over. So when I'm talking to a new guy about where to focus, I want to know where he is in his journey. If you're a beginner with no social circle, no following, no skills, you gotta start with cold approach because it builds the fundamental muscles fast. But you also start planting the social circle seeds immediately, because when your cold approach reps are done and your skills are built, you want a circle already growing that you can start farming from. The guys in my community who have the most ridiculous dating lives are the ones where girls are consistently coming to them. Those guys almost never talk about their approach numbers anymore. What they talk about is their circle, how many events they hosted last month, how their Instagram is moving, how a girl got introduced to them through mutual connections before they even said a word. That's what compounding looks like at scale. 3, your dating life is a funnel. Find the leak. This applies to every table you're playing, and the funnel looks different at each one. For cold approach, the funnel is approach, conversation, number close, date, second date. Well, texting's in there too, obviously. There's almost always one specific stage where everything is leaking out. Some guys open easily but can't close a number. The fix is completely different from the guy who gets numbers easily but can't get girls out, which is completely different from the guy who goes on tons of first dates but can never get the second one. These are different problems. If you're not tracking your funnel, you have no idea which one you have. The social circle funnel looks different. It goes events attended, new connections made, follow-ups sent, actual plans created, and then the girl hooks up with you, or she makes it really obvious she wants you to take her on the date. Voila. And the leak is usually somewhere different. Most social circle guys I talk to, their leak is the follow-up. They meet someone at a party, they don't follow up for a week, the connection is cold. Or they follow up but never create a context where anything can actually happen. They're just texting back and forth, not making plans, no event, no moment. Or they only hang out in big group settings where there's no opportunity for anything to develop between two people. The Instagram funnel goes content posted, new followers gained, story views, DMs, social circle invite, maybe a date. The leak there is usually in the DM stage. Guys build a following but never convert it into actual conversations. They're waiting for girls to come to them, which sometimes happens, but you can't build a dating life around that. Think about it like a business, you know? If your business has a revenue problem, you don't just try harder at everything. You figure out exactly where in the process you're losing people and you fix that specific stage. When I work with a new guy, one of the first things I want to know is which tables he's even playing and where in that funnel is he losing. That tells me pretty much everything. Number 4, small edges compound into massive results. You don't need to be dramatically better to get dramatically different results. Think about it in percentages. Let's say right now you close about 10% of your approaches for a number. You go from 10 to 15%, that seems small, but over 100 approaches, that's 5 extra numbers. Some percentage of those convert to dates, some percentage of those to second dates, and on and on. A small edge at every stage of the funnel compounds into a completely different outcome by the end. Now apply that same math to social circle. Let's say right now you go to 2 social events a month. You start going to 4, 1 a week. That's not twice as many events, it's more than twice as many connections because events compound. The people you meet at event 3 are often connected to people from events 1 and 2. Your name starts coming up in conversations you're not in. The small increase in input produces a disproportionately large increase in output over time. This is how Uber built their network effect. Uber didn't need every driver to be dramatically more efficient. They needed small improvements at every stage of the process. The matching algorithm, the routing, the surge pricing, all those small improvements across millions of rides added up to an enormous competitive advantage. Your social circle works the same way. Each quality person you add makes your circle more attractive to the next quality person, and that leverage builds on itself. You can't see it in a month, but by month 18, it's completely undeniable. So let me tell you about 2 guys I work with because they illustrate this really well. First guy, I'll call him Jake. He'd been doing approaches for about a year. He felt like he was working really hard and not getting results. Frustrated in a specific way, like not just this isn't working, but genuinely confused about why. So I asked him to walk me through his funnel. His open rate was good. He was starting conversations. Girls were engaging. His number close rate was okay, but his date conversion rate was terrible. He was getting numbers, and then those numbers were just kind of going dead. Girls would agree to meet up and then flake or just stop responding entirely. So now we know the problem. It's his texting. He was over texting, trying to build rapport via text before the date, which was killing the tension and giving her too many chances to talk herself out of it. A very specific, fixable thing. And once we fixed that one stage of his funnel, everything else downstream improved. Same approach volume, same number close rate, totally different outcomes. He had one leak and we plugged it. Second guy, let's call him Ryan. He had basically 0 game when he came to me, but he was a generally cool social guy. Instead of grinding cold approach, we focused entirely on building his social circle from scratch. He started going to more events, following up aggressively, and hosting a small dinner at his place once every month. And month 1, 2 guys showed up to his dinner. Month 3, 8 people. Month 6, he had to start turning people away. And somewhere around month 4, the nature of his dating life changed. Girls started getting introduced to him through mutual friends. He'd show up to a party and a girl would say, "Oh, you're Ryan, I've heard about you." His Instagram started growing because real people were following him, not strangers. He never really did cold approach at all, But by month 8, he had more options than most guys know who've been grinding approaches for years. But here's the thing I want to pull out of Ryan's story. We were tracking his funnel the whole time. Events attended, follow-ups, hangouts created, and around month 2, we caught a leak. He was meeting people but not following up fast enough. And we fixed the following up timing, and the whole circle started growing faster. He found his leak and he plugged it. Same principle as Jake, different table. The guy who approaches one girl a month and gets rejected is not learning anything. He's just buying lottery tickets. The guy who goes to one party every 6 weeks and wonders why his social circle isn't growing is doing the exact same thing with a different strategy. But the guy who approaches 10 girls a week and tracks his funnel, and the guy who's going to 4 events a month, following up, hosting his own things, watching his metrics, those 2 guys are playing poker. And over time, the poker player always has more edge than the lottery player. Always, because he's running a process that improves and the lottery player is just waiting to get lucky. So stop waiting to get lucky. Start playing the odds in your favor. Please. Dating is a game of skill, volume, and compounding small edges across multiple funnels. The lottery player waits for his number to come up. The poker player makes good decisions consistently, tracks what's working, fixes what isn't, and lets the math do the rest. Figure out which table you're playing, figure out where your funnel is leaking, fix that one stage, then find the next one. That's really the whole game of improvement. So here's what I want you to do. Pick your primary funnel right now, the one you're actually focused on, and track 3 numbers for the next 30 days. If it's cold approach, approaches, numbers, dates. If it's social circle, events attended, follow-ups sent, hangouts created. If it's Instagram, posts and stories published, new followers, DM started, 3 numbers, whichever table you're playing. Don't judge them. Don't make them impressive. Just collect the data. At the end of 30 days, you're going to have a picture of your funnel. You're going to know exactly where you're leaking. And once you know that, you know what to work on. If you want help building out the full system across all of these funnels, the free dating protocol in the description is a good place to start. It walks you through where you are, what table you should be focused on right now, and what to do next. All right. Later, boys.